as well, in phase 2, an economic development strategy which helps support it, policy in the official plan. It identifies really strategic policy direction on how the city could grow, where to direct growth based on certain economic circumstances. I'll get into that in a bit more detail. We had a downtown to waterfront master plan and urban design strategy that really detailed specific guidelines and policies on how development can or could be accommodated, or what development could look like, and some strategic recommendations on really tall buildings. If there is going to be a development within the particular area in the downtown and central waterfront area, certain criteria that that particular development should meet to ensure that it is compatible with the area, and so on. I'll get into that detail a bit more. We had a couple of consultation, or a public open house in September of 2009, which a lot of you would remember, on those particular strategies, and again, I'll detail that a bit more later. I don't know what's happening to some of the boxes there, but in phase 3 was really writing the official plan and taking all the comments received, all the information from the background reports, and really compiling that into an official plan, which we're here tonight to discuss. And as you can see from that nice little box at the bottom, we're here. We're at the statutory public meeting and to really hear your comments tonight, to listen about what the official plan process is all about, the specifics related to the official plan, and the comments received to date. So I did cover this, but to go through the process that we've undertaken to date, in October 2008, again, we had the project initiation. December 2008, as adopted by council, we had a public engagement strategy, a communication plan which really detailed how we would communicate in the project and how we would engage the public. And a planning context report that essentially provided some, surprisingly, planning context with some background as to why an official plan is important and why the city is undertaking such a project at this point. And those were adopted by council in December of 2008. In February and March 2009, a number of public workshops were undertaken, really to gain input from all of you, to really understand what some of the hot button issues are, and to really ensure that this document, the official plan that's being prepared, is essentially a partnership document between three groups: the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, council, and members of the public. And I say that because if it's not a partnership document, there's really nothing that members of the public can stand behind and say, you know, this is our city, and these are the policies that are essentially going to guide the development in our city for the next 20 years. In May 11th, we had a council workshop. May 25th, 2009, the foundation report open house, which essentially allowed for, again, more public input on the document that was prepared. And June 23rd is when that foundation report was adopted by council. And phase 2 was essentially conducted over the summer months of 2009. And over those summer months, we prepared essentially 4 documents. One being a land use and growth management strategy, as I detailed earlier, the downtown and waterfront master plan and urban design strategy, the economic development strategy, and a discussion paper on integrated community sustainability. And all of those, which were all discussed at a public open house on September 9th, again, assist in providing input into the official plan. It allows for essentially a seamless transition. It allows for a nice path to understand how policy has evolved throughout the project. And again, those documents were reviewed with the public, with council, and again at another public workshop on November 9th to ensure that, again, everybody had an opportunity to provide input, that everybody understood what those documents were really saying. Because often what happens is if you don't have enough consultation on a particular document, a lot of people, again, if it's a particularly formal meeting, a lot of people don't understand or won't put up their hand or won't really ask any questions. And it's really important to ask questions so that everybody understands what these documents are saying. December 15th, essentially a month after that public workshop, the two documents, the Land Use and Growth Management Strategy and the Urban Design, Downtown Waterfront Master Plan and Urban Design Strategy were adopted by Council. Like I said, Phase 3 was really the result of all the background documents being prepared, resulting in the preparation to formally prepare a first working draft of the official plan. As I said before, this is a partnership document. It's a partnership between the public, council, and the ministry. And obviously the ministry is the approval authority for this document. So to ensure that it is an open and transparent process, we had a meeting with the ministry back in January. And they outlined their particular interests related to provincial policy, related to natural heritage, cultural heritage, natural hazards, woodlands, and so on. And from that, we took their input and the input received and the policy recommendations from the background documents and crafted the first working draft of the official plan. And that was released for public comment in February of 2010. Essentially a month went by. We then had a first open house on the first working draft of the official plan in April. And at that point, we again presented the document, the highlights of the document, allowed for public comments and input, and received that input, and then went back, considered the input, and prepared another draft of the official plan, the final draft, which was released in July of 2010. The end of July, there was again more discussion with council as to how what were the concerns, how to proceed, and any particular changes, and really ensure that everybody has understood the document that's been prepared. In August of 2010, which was only last month, the final draft was issued for a statutory public meeting for tonight. So it's been a month since the document's been released, and our hope is that, I recognize it's a detailed document and quite long, so I'm sure all of you haven't gone through page by page, but our hope is that most of you have at least seen the document to understand what it's saying, so you can bring forward your questions tonight and provide any submissions you feel necessary. I know I said we had a one-window meeting, which they call it's facilitated by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing in Kingston. We had subsequently 2 additional meetings with the ministry to ensure that there's no surprises, because the ministry obviously has their interest as well as the city, and we want to make sure that the document is consistent with the provincial policy statement, which is the province's policy document that it requires all official plans to be consistent with. And so we ensured that they knew where the official plan was going, and to understand how we reacted to their comments, which were provided at the end of June of this year. And then we had a subsequent meeting on September 7th to really iron out some of their concerns and really understand where their concerns were with the plan, to make any necessary changes and discuss that at that time. And obviously tonight, it's a statutory public meeting. So, and I'll go through this in a bit more detail. A high degree of public consultation has been conducted for this particular project. Section 17 of the Planning Act being our legislation, our Bible that we have to follow as planners, that the Planning Act only requires one meeting. So tonight, under the Planning Act, tonight is the only meeting you're required to have. So granted, it may not be necessarily appropriate given the circumstances to have only one meeting, which is why we've gone way over and above that. We've gone even over and above our consultation and public engagement strategy that was originally adopted by Council, to ensure that everybody understands what is being prepared and to provide the necessary input to that particular document.